Box of trash.
I'm just living the dream. I'm in love with the lights. This is not just a game. This here is my life. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. 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 I'm coming close, no stick.
Hello, everybody. Live from Southern California, where we are on fire. It is the OZone. I'm your host, Omar Miller. I'm here with my brother, formerly Houston Astros fan, Terry Miller, also known as the Icons.
Well, I got to be formerly.
How are you feeling post-mortem?
I'm feeling great. I'm not post-mortem. Nate Trigg, not me. I'm good.
That's all. I guess it's all good.
Yeah.
I guess it's all good. Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. Primarily, you know, man, I'm sorry we can't share more with you guys more frequently, but I've been working. And it leaves me not a lot of time to jump on the microphone. But unless you've been living under a rock, you missed the wildest World Series in recent history. A 7-game clash was in full effect mode. We told you guys upon our last outing to not sleep on the Washington Nationals.
Don't sleep. They were there for a reason.
And everybody slept, including the Houston Astros.
Got lulled to sleep.
First and foremost, let's talk about how the Houston Astros came out super flat. The Astros came out games 1 and 2 as if someone had told them that they had already won the World Series by beating the New York Yankees. It was almost like they were casual fans of baseball.
Right.
They came out. I didn't see the fire or the grit that had them beat the Yankees in 6, that had them go the distance with the Rays, that had them win 107 games all year. I didn't see that from the word go. They came out. They jumped on Garrett Cole. Even though Garrett Cole, I would argue, still gave you a strong outing in the first.
Oh, no question.
You know, he gave you 7? He gave you 5 runs over 7, 4 runs over 7, something like that. I'm not mad at
He was due to get gutted.
He was due to get. He hadn't got gutted since May.
This is baseball. You get gutted. Everybody gets gutted.
Yeah, and
gutted.
and then there's so many wrinkles and elements to this World Series. It's unbelievable. So then you move into game 2. Game 1 was tight, 5-4 game. The Nationals pulled it off. Game 2, move in with Justin Verlander. The pressure's on JV. He doesn't have a bad game, but he doesn't have a great game.
Justin Verlander's low-key Clayton Kershaw.
And undercover, now it starts to come out that Justin Verlander can't win in the World Series. He can win in the playoffs. He can't win in the World Series. Mm-hmm. Then we shift. Then suddenly that game was just a wash. That game was 12-3, and it looked like that it could be sweep city for the Astros. Go back to Washington. We get to the nation's capital, and the Nationals forget how to score. Zach Greinke, of all people, comes out and confuses the bats, followed by Urquidy, who confuses the bats, followed by Garrett Cole, who totally and completely dominates them. And we go back to Houston 3-2. Odds on, it looked like that the Astros were going to win in 6. I had said the Astros in 7. But it wasn't to be.
I thought it was in 6.
Yeah, it was not to be, because game 6 they came out looking flat, and Stephen Strasburg totally and completely dominated for 8.1 innings.
No, he didn't. He got in trouble.
Like I said, he totally and completely dominated for 8.1 innings.
No, he did not.
He gave up 2 runs.
Yeah, he gave up 2 runs, but he did not.
2 hits over.
They actually tricked that game and probably the series with them not scoring that run. What was it, in the 3rd or 4th inning, when they had the runners with a runner at first and second? I mean, the runner when they didn't send the runner home. Gary Pettit didn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, Terry's been drinking. We're going to the details, and then Game 7 was actually a great game with a lot of controversial calls that from the manager, not from anybody pretty much except for the manager. But I want to give you a full World Series breakdown of one of the most bizarre and historic World Series that you'll ever run into. This truly was a fall classic. All right, let's start with the pitching. You know, the Washington Nationals are the best team in baseball, and they just beat who everybody, including myself, thought was the best team in baseball, basically with 3 pitchers for the entire series.
Yes, I completely agree.
That is really riding them out for Dave Martinez.
That's basically lulling you to sleep. You never really pick up on the fact that they're only using 3 pitchers.
It was tricky. It was like a subliminal 3, right?
Mm-hmm. And one of the 3 pitchers weren't dominant in the couple outings.
100%.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer was not unbeatable by any means.
And nor was Corbin as well. I was talking about Corbin, but Scherzer was a little wobbly.
They jumped on Scherzer early in game 1, jumped on Scherzer early in game 7. one thing that I've noticed about this World Series was when the Nationals started to score, because their bats were silenced when they were in D.C., something about playing indoors in Houston seemed to make a big difference for them. Also not facing Garrett Cole and Zach Greinke, because these are the two pitchers who dominated for the Astros. Garrett Cole and Zach Greinke dominated the Nationals. I don't care what anybody says.
On both sides of the spectrum, really hard and really soft.
Yeah. Pinpoint accuracy and total overpowering domination.
I could see how Zach Greinke was really, really effective. He was killing them. Yeah, just because he had a sinker working.
Change up.
The breaking ball definitely was working. Then he would sneak the fast, run that joke up on you.
Run that 89 on your head.
Wait, dude. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
He made Anthony Rendon look bad.
Until he didn't. But yes, I agree. And you know, it's very interesting in that sense, because the thing that I noticed about the Astros was when they let the Nationals score, they could not stop the bleeding. And the same thing seemed to happen in Game 7 last night.
Well, to me, this is the manager's fault, because he went to the well once too many times with Will Harris, but he also,
who had gotten dug the night before. Yeah, by the way,
but he also, this is a short series, and retrospect, when you look over the whole body of work, it's a short series, especially when it comes down to the last two games. So if you see that something's not working, you have to make the changes immediately. It's like a boxing match almost. You have to make the changes immediately. Time. Yeah, it's real time adjustments. So when you see that it's not working, or the wheels fall off with said person or script, then I need to change that. I can't stay there and stay with it and then get surprised with the outcome, because I've already seen it before.
Yeah. And last night he didn't do that.
He didn't make the adjustment.
You saw two stark opposites as far as the coaching styles went. AJ Hinch, first and foremost, went away from everything that got him 107 wins.
Sure did. Since
when does an American League powerhouse bunt over runners with the catcher with no outs?
Well, I still don't put that on AJ Hinch. I think that was a move from Chirinos. He was making an artistic choice.
I don't think he made an athletic choice.
He did, because
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that. Why would AJ Hinch tell him?
I would like to ask AJ Hinch that. 3 straight hits. Gurriel hits a home run, and then we get 2 singles. You are cooking with Crisco right now, and Max is thrown off.
And he's wobbly.
And you help Max out by not getting a bunt down. You pop out the bunt, and now
that's why I don't think that AJ told him that, because for the simple fact that they don't really do that. And why would you ask a guy who doesn't do that to do that, especially the catcher,
who sink or swim, who has hit big bombs in Washington during this series? I just don't understand, because and if it was on Robinson Chirinos, terrible game IQ. He's the kind of guy in that situation that you play with on the video game that does something boneheaded and you can't be mad, because that was a very J.R. Smith-esque kind of play.
Very much so.
Hitting everybody, if you guys don't know already, everybody that knows anything about baseball that has ever actually played baseball knows hitting is contagious.
Just like errors.
Just like errors are contagious.
When you try to get them to throw the ball around so that you can cause confusion, one bad throw leads to another. One thing leads to another.
That's exactly what happens. Yeah, you say what you say. Throw and you throw. Yeah, this is how it works. And since everybody, when it's almost like a Jedi mind trick, because what happens is then pitchers start pitching balls right where they're hittable. Center cut, or balls that should be caught drop in, maybe that aren't errors, but that are, a little flare or something, this, that, and the other.
Well, this is a big point. Yeah, but this is a big point right now, which, is going over everybody's head. I just gave the Nationals scouting department crazy kudos, because
I saw that. I had to retweet that.
Yeah, because it's not a coincidence that when they hit a certain pitch to a certain place that somebody's sitting there. Even if Victor Robles makes it look like that somebody wasn't supposed to. But it's not a coincidence. They've set that they've aligned their defense to go where the pitches are. It's unbelievable to watch.
It's unbelievable.
And then you can see that the Astros were completely out of sync.
Position.
Yeah, they were out of
because
2 outs, and they're getting 2 outs hits.
Even that ball that Juan Soto caught, that George Springer swung on the 3-0 pitch, that could have.
He was right in the right. He was in the right spot.
In the right spot. It was a difficult play, but he was in the right spot.
If he was 2 feet to the left or the right,
make that play. Doesn't make 1 foot. That ball almost hit the ground.
Yes,
and that scores 2 runs. And
that's
the difference between 4-0 and 2-0 is massive from a mental standpoint.
Yeah. Well, it was like what I was just talking about with Gary Pettis. Because
so game 6,
yeah,
it is something that I didn't hear anybody talk about, and I love John Smoltz' analysis of baseball games, by the way. So I think everybody's in good hands listening to John Smoltz. I know Joe Buck catches a lot of flack, but John Smoltz knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about as far as pitching, and surprisingly as far as hitting.
Yeah.
But
that's why he's a great pitcher.
That is why he's a great pitcher. He knows what's so hard about hitting.
And what hitters are looking for.
Yep. And so with that, you see a situation where I was surprised because neither one of them said much about it. In game 6, they have Stephen Strasburg in trouble. And there was a runner on. I think
it was the third or fourth inning.
No, it's the 5th inning. And they hadn't had a hit in 5 innings. So they scored in the first inning. And Stephen Strasburg did what great pitchers do. He settled in. They hadn't had a base runner or a hit in 4 innings from that point. Then they get a runner on first base on a walk. I do believe Josh Reddick walked. He might have got a base hit.
A bleeder or something?
Yeah, bleeder. Nothing damaging. And it was 2 outs. Then.
No, it was 1 out.
1 out. You're right. I'm sorry. 1 out. George Springer comes up, and George Springer hits a rope off the wall, off the left field wall, which gets tangled under the fence. Juan Soto doesn't pick it up clean. Reddick comes around second. He's about to come around third, and Gary Pettis holds him up. Now we're talking about second and third with 1 out, which for a guy like Stephen Strasburg, who could punch out 250 guys a year.
He's an ace.
You just helped him out immensely.
There's so many things that have to happen in order for you to throw out Josh Reddick.
Josh Reddick isn't
even if he stopped and started,
even
which
if
he did.
Stopped and started. He didn't even stop. He's slow.
He hesitated.
Yeah.
But you have to have a perfect relay. You have to get that ball clean from under the fence. You have to have a perfect relay to another relay.
And then Trey Turner has to throw a perfect throw home.
And there's too many.
And then, as we saw a lot with the Yankees and Gary Sanchez last year, the catcher has to make the play and make the tag.
But the thing of it is that when there's a different approach to the game when I have a 1-run lead and when there's a tie game. You're putting Stephen Strasburg under the gun at this point because now he has to pitch a different way. He has to have a different approach. And what you're doing is now you're saying that what I'm saying is that if you threw him out at home, you would have a guy at least at second, probably third.
You have a guy at third with 2 outs. Altuve coming up with 2 outs.
Yeah, which you ended up with second and third with 1 out, and then which turned into 2, which then turned into
because Altuve struck out.
Yeah. Because he knew that he was anxious.
Because he used his aggression against him because the whole world saw Jose Altuve actually hurt the team. And now when you watch baseball with baseball people, folks, which most people don't do, when you watch baseball with baseball people, they bring stuff up about how stuff bites you later on. I watched Jose Altuve hurt the team in game 4, I think it was, because there was a situation where he should have taken a walk. It was runners on second and third. He was up. He got hit by the pitch. It was game 4 because it was Patrick Corbin was pitching.
He got hit by, and it wasn't
3. And it Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, and it's actually a hit by pitch just because it touched your clothes. It can't touch your uni.
At which point he made no protest or nothing else, but he should have went to first base. He did not go to first base.
Bases would have been drunk.
Bases would have been drunk for Michael Brantley, and he did not do that, but they still ended up winning the game, so it seemed like it was no big deal. Well, the difference with people who actually play the game and people who don't play the game is Stephen Strasburg was in the dugout and saw that. He clocked that, and he said, man, this dude wants to be the hero. He is anxious. So what happens, and not only Stephen Strasburg, Yan Gomes, Kurt Suzuki, the catching battery knows that this dude, that you can use this against him. And that's what they did. And they struck him out, a huge strikeout, which now puts the team in a position to have to get a base hit to score as opposed to a sacrifice fly to score.
Or just contact because he did not strike out on a pitch, on a strike.
He struck out on a ball in the dirt.
The first pitch,
5 feet.
The first pitch was, a slider, a foot
off the plate.
And I took a hack.
I had to.
I always do.
So excited. Yeah. And he hurt the team. And this kind of little stuff ends up hurting the team long term. It came back to bite them in game 7 as well.
There are so many small things that
that was game 6. Right?
Yeah, that was un-Astro-esque.
It was unbelievable to watch.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable
because they broke character a lot of ways. I saw Carlos Correa starting to pull his back together. He got a bad call.
He got that hurt the team bad because they were still only down 4-2.
Yeah, and Wolf had called a good game up until then because everybody was mad at Randy Wolf. What's it?
Jim Wolf.
Jim Wolf. But
Randy Wolf's brother.
But he had a pretty consistent tight zone.
I thought he had a good zone.
And he got caught up in the crowd.
This is the we'll get to this next point. We have a caller who wants to join this conversation. He had a good zone until after Rendon hit the home run, and there was a walk to Juan Soto, which is what got Greinke lifted, and he actually threw a strike on a 2-1 pitch and should have made it 2-2. And instead, it went 3-1, and Zach Greinke wasn't going to give in, which is why he walked Juan Soto, which is not Zach Greinke's style to walk people. But he also recognized that he did not want to give up the game-tying home run, so he just put him on base.
Will Harris do it.
So probably not thinking that he was going to get pulled because he figured he could carve Howie Kendrick like he's been carving him all day.
Well, I mean, I looked at that picture several times.
That's a strike.
But no, that one was a strike that we were just referring to.
The Juan Soto pitch.
The one that Howie Kendrick hit out was a great pitch. That was low and away.
Low and outside. This is great professional hitting.
Come on, man.
What do you want from Howie? I mean, I'm not even mad at Will Harris.
No.
He just seen it too many times.
Yeah.
There's too much video of you with that. But let's get to Game 7 where they really lost the series. And in Game 7, in my opinion, even though they could have beat him in Game 6. Yeah. Is that the Astros left 21 runners on base in Game 7.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they had Max Scherzer in trouble a lot.
He was on the tightrope.
He was on the tightrope, and that positioning helped.
Yeah.
But they helped him. They started chasing pitches out of the strike zone, and the thing that you saw the whole time is the only pitcher that could get them out in the strike zone was Stephen Strasburg.
Yeah.
Not even Patrick Corbin, because Patrick Corbin was the beneficiary of some.
Well, Stephen Strike Zone, but Stephen Strasburg.
It's a great nickname.
He didn't get them out in the zone. He got them out. He got ahead of them, and that's what he did to work well for him. He got ahead of those guys, and he made them fish, and that's something that the Astros usually don't do.
I tell you what I saw, honestly.
Michael Brantley is the one to stay composed, and George Springer stayed composed.
Because look at how the game ended.
I know, but you got him. But I know, which was terrible. But that was like but that was like six pitches into their bat, so he stayed tight.
And honestly, what I saw was that the Astros cracked under pressure, and you could see that. And now I disagree because I don't feel like it was a crack. I feel like it was what you had stated earlier that some of these guys were trying to be heroes instead of just playing within the game. I don't know. I watched Alex Bregman was tight.
Alex Bregman was tight because he was.
Jose Altuve was tight.
He had done so much and he spoke so much that he had to try to live up to what he was. He wrote a check that is behind couldn't cash.
His bat couldn't cash. And he want to walk with the first base with the bat.
And I told you
so much to cover. Let's get our caller in. We got a New York Dan on the scene. New York Dan, what's happening?
How's it going, man?
Yo.
You tell me, how does it feel to not win the World Series from a team in your division that wins the World Series that you guys were better than?
I don't believe he asked you, Kerry.
Talk to me, man. We're talking about the series at large. Look, just to catch you up on the conversation, a couple key plays that we felt like where the Astros really blew it. Game 6 when Gary Pettis, the third base coach, did not send J.J. Redick on what would have had to be a perfect relay twice to throw him out. They had Strasburg in a little bit of trouble. Really the only time they had him in trouble.
Would have tied up the game 3-3, wouldn't it?
No. 2. Yeah. 3-3. He only ended up giving up 2. Yeah, would have tied up the game. I think it might have tied it up 2-2. Did he give up 2 in the first?
He gave up 2.
Oh, okay. And then last night, the awesome positioning of the national scout team, because every time they had Max on the tightrope every inning, and yet they were hitting bullets, but it was right at guys. We were talking about how what seemed uncharacteristic was the Astros cracked under pressure when the time came, when push came to shove, and I was very surprised to see how tight they were. What'd you see in the series at large, and what do you feel about the series as an avid baseball fan, watching a lot of Nationals games, being such a Mets fan?
Yeah, I saw the Nationals a ton this year. So the thing for me was, first of all, it was a classic series. I was not happy about the outcome, obviously, for what you said at the top of the show, or at the top of when you called me. But honestly, this is what makes the game great. I mean, the guys, nobody on the team had a ring. They won.
Oh, really?
Yep. Only one person on the even non-active roster.
Wow.
I'd have to look.
Wow.
I'd have to look. Nobody on the team. I mean, think about it.
That's awesome.
Think about it. So, I mean, you got guys. I really, outside of Soto, I'm not the biggest Soto fan, but I like guys on that team. As Drupal. From his time on the Mets, even Kevin Long.
I love Kevin Long. Right. We met Kevin Long a couple times. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah. So I mean, they had a lot of guys also who were probably never going to get a ring unless they got one this year. So for that reason,
they poached one.
Yeah, well, listen, that happens. I mean, we see that happen in all kinds of sports, not just here, but what I will say is, although on paper the Astros seem better, just like what happened with the Mets, they got outmanaged, and it seems like all we do is talk about managing on this show when I'm on it, just because the thing with my team, and we can talk about that later. But to not put in Cole when you have the lead, I don't care if it's the middle of the inning, there's one out, there's 2 outs. He said before, Harris needs a day off more than anybody else.
He said it before.
That's what we spoke about.
He said it before. This is unbelievable. So I'm not going to give him the day off
and put him in the game.
Right. So my thing is, whenever I'm thinking about decisions like that in a sort of strategic capacity, what would the other team want me to do? If you're thinking about it from a Nationals perspective, what do you want to have happen more than anything else? Harris come into the game.
Exactly.
Right then. You want okay, first of all,
you either got to go Ozuna or Cole. Plain and simple.
Or Ozuna would be fine. Yeah, but
I would have been okay with Ozuna. And then having Cole close the game.
They have a decent bullpen though.
I'm talking about from a Nationals perspective. If you were
No, I agree with what you're saying.
Okay, so my thing is, giving up a home run to Rendon is just like giving up a home run to Babe Ruth at this point.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do?
So,
he's the real MVP.
Walking Soto is probably the right thing to do.
Even this is what we just said. Even though the 2-1 pitch was a strike that pushed it to 3-1, the right thing to do is to not give in.
Right.
Either make him chase or not.
AJ Hinch got off that bench so fast. He was ready to pull him clearly before. He was hit
80 pitches into the game.
To me, it sounds like he had somebody in his ear and telling him, "Oh, you got to watch him. You got to watch him. You got to watch him."
And this is one where I actually think it's him and not analytics. I think this was
no question. But somebody was speaking to him, telling him if he gets into trouble, you got to watch him. You got to watch him. Well, hey, dude, I gave up 2 hits.
The home run was his second hit of the game.
Home run was second hit of the game.
And then you know what? When you got a guy like that throwing crooked stuff, I think he's at least threw one ephus pitch last night.
At least one. I saw it, 66. Right. I saw it.
So what? What do you think these guys on the Nationals bench want? Oh, these hitters.
Last thing they want is to keep seeing Zach Greinke. I thought he was going to go 9.
I
thought he was going to go 9. They want to see the gas. That's what they want to see.
You know what?
But they don't want to see Garrett Cole's gas.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to see that.
I was sitting here watching this like this guy looks like Bumgarner. He's doing the Bumgarner thing where he's going to have, when I was at the Mets playing game when they lost because Connor Gillespie hit a 3-run home run off of Jerry's Familia, go figure. But the thing in that game was Bumgarner would have went 1,000 pitches. He was not going to come out of that game, and the Mets would.
And Bochy would have let him.
Right. He's right. So my thing is, how can you look at a guy who's thrown a 2-hitter, giving up a home run to a guy who hasn't been able to get out after the 7th inning in the entire playoffs, quite possibly deserves to be the MVP, and then you walk a guy who, like you said, you don't want to give in to him. I would much rather pitch to Ryan Zimmerman, which happened the game before too, Game 6. They had first base open. I believe
it was Howie Kendrick. And I would much rather pitch to him too. I'd much rather pitch to anybody.
And Kendrick had a good series, but come on. You would rather go with you got to play. You know me. I've said this on the show before too. I would rather play the odds here, and the odds certainly don't tell me to bring Will Harris into the game. You'd seen the fatigue on him before last night,
and it wasn't his fault.
He acknowledged it. The coach acknowledged it. And then still put him in
unbelievable.
Game 7.
Unbelievable.
Well, let me bust your bubble a little bit right now because they're saying that AJ Hinch has a choice. He could take that New York Met job.
Oh wow!
Look, he makes the exact kind of managerial decision. It's so funny that that was the whole memes going around all the Mets stuff today was, oh yeah, it's not surprising now that Brody wants to trade for AJ Hinch.
Can you believe that?
It's like he's attracted. Yeah. It's like being attracted to a toxic woman.
He's
attracted to a certain toxic woman.
Right. No, matter of fact, I'm good on that right now. But kind of the thing. We can talk about the Mets later, but the Nats are going to lose guys now. I was kind of slyly hoping. I'm trying to get over this thing where other people's fandoms being devastated gives me pleasure, but it's hard. I am very, very, very jealous of the Nationals winning the World Series. because, like you said, I mean, look, the Mets had the Rookie of the Year, the guy who had the most home runs in the league, Cy Young guy who almost won the batting title, and it didn't even make the playoffs, you know? And
didn't even make the playoffs.
Right.
And also, how much does this one sting? And a terrible bullpen, just like the Nationals had a terrible bullpen.
It's the same thing.
You could have
Think about that. You got three horses.
You could have rolled 3-4 guys. They have more than 3 guys.
They got more than 3 guys. You can ride. DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, and Wheeler the same way that the Nationals just rode.
Yeah, and Stroman.
And
I forgot about Marcus Stroman.
Jeez,
Marcus Stroman is a big time ball player.
Yeah, it's big time.
Oh yeah, he came around at the end too.
Yeah.
My thing is this is what I told my dad, and I talk about this after every game. You know, after the Milwaukee game, obviously Milwaukee was down their MVP and they weren't that good of an offensive club. But, you know, I said there's absolutely no way they can manage like this through the whole playoffs. And guess what the fuck they did?
Managed it just like that, the whole playoffs. They're ready to go to Game 8 like that.
They're ready to go to Game 8 if need be. And that's good because Garrett Cole will be fresh.
Right.
Well, and let me ask you this. Now it don't look so crazy that they sat Strasburg out of those playoffs, right? Hey,
they got it done. It was a long-term play. I don't play mine long-term like that. I actually think that team was better than this team.
Yeah. Between us, that was really, really fucking stupid.
I thought it was really stupid.
Ridiculous.
But who's to say? Maybe he pitches. Maybe he overextends himself. Maybe he has an elbow blow.
Maybe gives you the Garrett Cole and stays in the bullpen for seventh.
Or maybe he deals all the way into October 3 years ago and actually wins the World Series. How about that?
Maybe. But they won one, and we'll never know what else would happen.
But they got him one.
You know?
Now, the thing for me, looking at it, the whole situation, I have to address how happy I was. And when on the podcast, I told everybody not to sleep on Washington. And I actually thought I thought it was going to go 6. I had said 6 or 7. I thought it was going to go 7. Someone in my spirit even told me to pick the Nationals, and I denied it. They can't beat them.
Yeah.
And then when they booed Donald Trump in Game 5,
they did the right thing.
They did the right thing for the community.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you something. In the same vein that MAGA got a major win when the Atlanta Falcons were unable to hold that lead in the Super Bowl days after Trump was inaugurated, I feel the tide has turned in the same way now that the nation's capital stood up and booed that man, the bum who wouldn't even bring his 13-year-old son to the ballpark for the World Series.
Can you believe that, dude?
Among other terrible things. Add that to his loser ledger. That guy got booed, and I tell you, even though a lot of people are mad about losing money, especially Mac, the mattress guy down in Houston, I really believe that the country might get set back on its proper axis from this win. I'm hoping that's the way it goes.
I thought it was more because of the pitching decisions, but I'm good with that.
You're willing to accept it if it works out.
Well, my friend, obviously I know a lot of Jews. I'm a Jew. My friend, one of the most Jewish people, I got to preface that before people get mad. Right. I got a friend who said he prayed for the Nationals to win, and, they won. So maybe all the other shit we pray about will come true. I don't know. I'll pray for Trump to, get impeached tomorrow, and then maybe it'll happen.
Maybe it'll happen.
I haven't tried it.
Good luck.
You know what? After I pray for the Mets to win, because
after you pray for the Mets to sign AJ Hinch,
no.
AJ Hinch just got exposed. That's the bottom line.
That's what happened.
Because he has so much talent on that team that he never really had to manage. He got into a situation where he had to manage because he was a mediocre catcher at best back in the day, but Davey Martinez was above average player. Yeah. And Davey Martinez knew in certain situations where to push the buttons.
He sure did.
And he put the right people in play to make this happen.
From Howie Kendrick to hit the salami in L.A. to just total domination of the Cardinals.
Howie Kendrick versus Zach Greinke.
To Howie Kendrick versus Zach Greinke. I mean, this is and versus Will Harris.
I mean, look, it would be the most Mets thing ever because he's still under contract. They would have to trade for him. So after this, that would be the most
this
Mets
is it.
thing
We'll give you DeGrom for AJ Hinch. No, that's okay. Fine. We'll give you DeGrom and Stroman. Just give us AJ Hinch.
No, wait, we don't have him anymore. Okay,
throw in Cespedes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's coming back next year, right? So,
for what?
yeah.
Let me tell you, man. Appreciate the call. We're gonna keep on the World Series coverage. Yeah, go Mets. We'll check in with you when we get closer to spring training or if there's any more moves.
I got one more thing on the World Series. First of all, Mickey Callaway deserves a ring. Secondly, the player was Hunter Strickland. He's not on their active roster.
Hunter Strickland got him one with the Giants.
Right, and now we can go look at that 2014 Tigers rotation.
This is where I was going to go next. We can look at it. Let's look at that 2014 Tigers rotation.
Right, they have and let's not forget Anibal Sanchez gave the Nationals. That was
the boost that he gave them.
Right
in the series against
can't be understated.
It can't. The way he shut down the Cardinals, I do believe. I think he almost hit the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Well, the Cardinals came in like a corpse, but I mean,
and the cold one, the cold corpse.
Right. Well, the last time we talked, that was a pick. That was your.
I'm very disappointed in their work. I'm very I got that one all the way wrong.
Did you both have the Cardinals going to the series?
No, I actually didn't. But I thought earlier I felt like the Mets could have won.
Yeah, he was actually really big on the Mets before it got determined if the Mets. You know what it was? The Mets were his pick if they get in. It was one of those.
Right, just like the Nationals.
And they
just so happened that they were the ones who got in.
So the Detroit Tigers 2014 rotation, Justin Verlander. Might have been, George Springer was the MVP. Won the 2017 World Series. Rick Porcello won the 2018 World Series with Boston. David Price, 2018 World Series champion with Boston. Max Scherzer, 2019 World Series champ. And Anibal Sanchez, 2019 World Series champ. And then another guy who put this up said, bet all your money on Drew Smyly's team to win the World Series in 2020. Right. That is hilarious.
And they also had the guy probably hit the Triple Crown that year, right?
They did. That was the year that Cabrera hit that Triple Crown first time in the 60 years or something.
Well, but look at this though. Arizona Diamondbacks have got some explaining to do too, because you have Patrick Corbin, Zach Greinke, and Max Scherzer. They drafted Max Scherzer.
What?
Yep. And got rid of. But they got a good haul back for him from Detroit.
You didn't get a good better haul than Max Scherzer.
Yeah, you did not get OJ Mayo.
Look, I haven't talked to you guys since I guess last time I closed before the playoffs. So I got to hear some about how this series went in LA. I know you guys must have been at some of those games.
Oh man, listen to the pod. We talk about it on the pod. We were at Game 5, the determining game.
I didn't think the Dodgers were going to win.
Is it because they didn't play anybody the whole year and they hadn't
No, I mean that didn't help, but that's not it.
They don't play the game the right way.
This is more mismanagement.
Yeah,
because they actually have the talent to get the job done, and they don't use it properly. Terrible use of Clayton Kershaw. I know that I sound like a Clayton Kershaw apologist, but honestly, Clayton Kershaw, you could have felt the electricity in the stadium when he came in. Oh my goodness.
You could have wrote that all the way to the World Series.
Man, they could have wrote that all the way to the World Series. He came in, he strikes out Adam Eaton on 3 pitches. He should have rode off into the sunset, and that should have been that. Instead, you set him up to fail and you bring him back out there. Honestly, now, I don't know if mentally he'll ever be the same after watching that footage of him in the post game. Because he's always seemed above the fray. Yeah. Like he's always known, hey guys, you say what you want to, but I got the good stuff. And you know it. Yeah. Deep down, you know it, and I know it too. But this time he looks like he may have been broken. And really unfortunate.
Is managing a baseball team really this fucking hard? Like,
yes, it is.
It is. Just like playing a baseball game is this hard.
There's so many moving parts.
But like I get all the minute details, but like, things like not out the lineup card right, or
the matchups, the lineups, and it's not dictated or predicated. Yeah, the positioning. I mean, all this stuff means so much. Every pitch means something. Pretty much.
So let me ask you this: when you've done all that right, how hard is it to
win?
Put Garrett Cole in when you've got the lead.
This is the issue. You've done it right until you don't.
Yeah, now you have some
and Dave Roberts and AJ Hinch. The big difference is that Dave Roberts got out in the first round, but Dave Roberts and AJ Hinch both have the same questions to answer, just in different formats, because ultimately you set franchise records with your wins because you pushed the right buttons for the season, and both of them went away from what got them 106 and 107 wins.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. So we'll catch you sooner than later, man. Spring training's around the corner. We got a couple dark months, and then we'll turn it around.
I know you guys don't talk basketball ever for some reason, but anytime you want to talk NBA, man, I'm here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you're in the center of the NBA world.
We're in the center of the NBA universe.
That's right.
All right, man. Good hearing from you.
man.
We talk to you soon.
Late.
Yeah, all right, Terry. Oh, Omar, congrats on the show, man. I loved the last season. I was blindsided by that too.
I tell you, you watch out. Keep your arteries clean.
But I thought they were going to kill you off, man. All right, man.
All right, later.
Late.
Good, guys. All right.
Yeah. Staying in this same vein. Oh, that's what I meant to ask him. And you know what? I think you're right. When I go back over it, as much, I need to go as much as Stephen Strasburg dealt, I got to go with Rendon or Soto for the MVP. That bomb Rendon hit changes everything.
Well, I think that what Adam Eaton did. I mean,
Adam Eaton was a monster.
Adam Eaton was, I can't give it to, because he's 2 games, which he was dominant, but I literally have to go with the guys who are in the pressure cooker 24/7. I mean, they're literally
It matters.
It matters.
Every play.
It matters defensively and offensively.
Unless you give me Oral Hershiser or
Yes.
Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah. You got to do me something that's way over the top as far
Way
as
over the top.
overpowering. Other than
And
that,
I need a relief appearance.
and I need a relief appearance.
or a complete game.
I need something over the top.
I need some over
But
the
I
top.
can't give that to the pitcher in this situation.
I agree. But even though he dominated.
He dominated. I just not to downplay what he did.
In every play.
Every situation.
He's in every
pitch,
What Anthony Rendon did for the team, both defensively and offensively, was incredible. Adam Eaton played a great series. You never questioned his defense, which means that he played good defense.
Yeah. And I'm not high on him like that.
I know you aren't. And the kid Juan Soto, forget about it.
Yeah.
Dude, the superstar was introduced in this series. And in this October, because he balled the whole October, and Rendon balled the whole October.
And that's the big difference between him and Yordan Alvarez. Yordan got exploited a little bit, and
then he adjusted. But he never went itchy like Juan Soto.
in big situations. And
Juan Soto hit a mammoth shot off of Justin Verlander, which changed the whole dynamic of the series in Game 6.
Juan Soto was intimidating.
He was intimidating.
Yordan was not intimidating.
Yes.
We always felt that, all they have to do is go to the dirt and we'll get Yordan.
Yeah.
You go to the dirt, Juan, he'll lay off. And that's one of the reasons why he got that call.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so I don't know. I still gotta do more thinking on it, but I probably go with that Rendon bomb off of Zach Greinke was so big.
Yeah, but it wasn't a game changer really like that. It wasn't. It was one run. It's a momentum shift, but it wasn't a complete game.
That's what changes the game.
It didn't change the game.
That bomb is bigger.
They were still down.
Is bigger, even as big, if not bigger, than Howie Kendrick's bomb.
No, you high.
No, you're high. You know why? Because that's the bomb that actually made AJ Hinch say, "I gotta go grab him."
But Howie Kendrick's bomb, come on, man,
moved him ahead in the score.
No.
But the bomb, Zach Greinke was unhittable at that point.
Yes, very much so.
And in the same way that we talk about how hitting is contagious, all of a sudden everybody believed they could hit Zach Greinke, even though they never showed that they could hit Zach Greinke.
I don't believe that they believe that they can still hit him. He's throwing off speed pitches that are so hard to hit when you're tuned up or dialed up to 96. For 96 and 97.
I agree.
Because now in this part of the season, everybody's bringing it.
He made him human, man, and it means a big deal. And coming off of that, another human is Garrett Cole. And Garrett Cole
is Audi.
Because this is what Garrett Cole
Audi commercial.
He's in an Audi commercial. And this is what Garrett Cole had to say after the game.
Yeah, a lot of good friendships. Obviously learned a lot about pitching from my teammates, from the pitching coaches and pitching staff. Learned a lot more about the game from AJ. And it was just a pleasure to play in the city of Houston. I mean, they're a good team. So, I don't want to say, I'm so shocked that they could win 4 games, But, I think both teams probably would have imagined that somebody would have been able to defend their home turf at least once. I said it earlier, I'm going to have some friends from this clubhouse probably for the rest of my life. So you just don't take situations like that for granted. And winning a lot is fun. So, yes.
So basically he told them bye.
He told them bye in a polite way. There's more to it if you want to catch it on MLB.com. But Garrett Cole, wearing his Scott Boras hat,
crazy,
basically said, I want to get paid and it's time to bounce because you guys are playing games and I wanted to carve.
You guys are playing a good game of puzzle.
You guys are playing a solid game of puzzle, but I wanted to play a championship level game and I wanted to carve.
And I gave you guys every opportunity to do that. I heard somebody floating around, I think of one of the guys from, was it ESPN or one of the pundits talking about saying something to the effect that Garrett Cole probably didn't want to get into the game because he didn't want to get hurt. I have a hard time
I have a 0% belief in that.
I have a hard time believing a ball player that doesn't want to play ball, even if I'm getting ready to get paid. If
He's going to get paid either way.
I'm going to get paid either way. If I get Tommy John surgery, I'm going to get paid.
I was about to say, it's a Kevin Durant kind of situation. Yeah. I'm going to get paid. Kevin Durant is sitting out the whole year, and he's getting paid by the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. $40 million.
Because next year, they know what he's going to do.
Because next year, they know what time it is.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Yeah.
I don't believe that AJ Hinch said that he decided that he wasn't going to bring him in unless he had a lead.
And he had a lead. So I don't know why he said that.
Well, unless he had a lead or to close.
Or if it was Saturday.
And 3 o'clock with a 4 o'clock shadow.
I looked out there in the pit. He had a 5 o'clock shadow.
No way, dude. You're not getting in the game.
Didn't feel right. I had to go with Will Harris. Went with my gut. Unbelievable.
And got gutted. Went with his gut and got gutted. That's
if you bring in, first and foremost,
man, wait a minute.
Nobody's mad if you don't take Zach Greinke out.
Right.
That's his game.
But they have more pitchers.
Difference of how baseball has changed, and I have a real
for the worst.
I have a real serious gripe with it.
Because you had Ryan Presley. I mean, they have a decent bullpen. You don't have to go
to Ozuna. Go straight to Ozuna with Garrett Cole to close out the game. Let Ozuna get these 3 out.
If I'm going to do that, I'm going, if Greinke is giving me the best Greinke.
He's going to be the best Greinke.
I'm going with the next best thing, which is Garrett Cole. I have Ozuna close the game because for some reason closers have the propensity, they have a problem.
Well, but they don't have that. They don't necessarily have that problem because that was a high stakes situation. I agree with what you're saying.
But
that was a high stakes situation.
Yeah, it was a high stakes.
They have a problem when they come in with the game tied.
And you still see that he didn't get it done.
He did not get it done.
Because they need to be in that situation.
They need to, there's a mentality, something has to happen.
But guess what? This is probably a bullpen day for Garrett Cole. So in that we could,
I don't care if it's a bullpen day or not.
But I'm just throwing out because he had 2 days rest.
I'm with Joe Madden on this one. And Joe Madden ran Aroldis Chapman out there in the 2016 playoffs. He must have been out there 1,000 times. And you know what Joe Madden said?
Because he learned that from the Yankees.
And Joe Madden said, you know what? By the time somebody can figure out how to hit a 105-mile-an-hour fastball, I will already have my ring. And so will everybody else on this roster.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Or that cutter that they used to throw Mariano out there with. I'm sending him out there, dude.
I'm running him out there. Bases drunk, no outs, and in the game, and we're up 1.
Yeah.
And guess what? He'll get out of it.
He'll get out of it.
In the 7th.
Yes. And he'll
that
pitch
was the 7th inning.
And he'll pitch all the rest of the innings and close this game out. I need a hold and a save.
I need a hold and a save, Mo.
Hold is not even in existence back then.
Hey, Mo. I need a hold and a save. And he's got it for you. Unreal.
But this game is so watered down now, just like most of the professional sports, because everybody's playing a corporate game. Everybody's trying to save me for later. Hey, dude, tomorrow's not promised. Let me get mine right now.
I'm not looking forward to game.
I'm leaving it all on the field. I'm leaving it all on the court. I'm leaving it all everywhere.
That's it. Same with like the Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant had a very interesting conversation on First Take today. Did you see that? Very honest conversation from Kevin Durant. I
had to give it to Draymond.
For somebody who's comes off as so sensitive, and like he comes off as sensitive in his game and social media. I met him in person and he came off really sensitive. Like,
so basically what we're saying is that he cares about certain things.
I'm not saying that.
He cares about the way that people think about him.
That's a big difference between saying that he cares. I'm not knocking.
Well, he does care, but he just cares about the things that, yeah.
I'm not knocking anybody for caring, but if you're in the public eye, if you are so sensitive to what people think about you, there's a great chance you shouldn't really be in the public eye, because there is
whose eye should you be in?
Your own. There's scrutiny that comes with being in the public eye that, you know, a lot of people just can't handle. And when you take the dough and you take the position, that's a part of it. This is part of the problem with the thin skin of Donald Trump that everybody has.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go there. I actually wanted to cover something in football, because this situation with Trent Williams is mind blowing to me. Did you see what happened with Trent Williams?
Uh-huh.
Let's listen to here. All pro lineman Trent Williams came back and it has addressed what's happened with him, and this is just amazing to me. Here we go.
Didn't you go get your own personal consults? Oh,
Trent, you said 6 years ago?
Roughly 5.5.
And then when did
Coach Shanahan last year?
And so then it just, what happened? 6 years.
It was, I guess somebody took the time to actually realize, try to see what was really going on there. Football was more important. And to me, it was more important too. I was told it was something minor, so I didn't really question it. But the lump continued to grow over the years, and it was concerning, but there was no pain involved. And if I'm being told by the very people who, I put my career in the hands of, they're telling me I'm fine, then I'm fine. That's how I looked at it.
So at what point did you go elsewhere or find out you weren't fine?
Well, I didn't go elsewhere. I, got to continue to finally get it, what I thought was a cyst extracted. And when they did, they found out it was, it wasn't a cyst. It was a piece of the tumor. It was DFSP is what the cancer was called, a very rare soft tissue cancer. So they realized that it was that. And, obviously, 5 years later, it grew substantially than what it was when I first bought it.
Where did you go to finally get that taken care of?
I went to their doctors in Nova, and that's when I got the diagnosis. And then shortly after, I think the diagnosis that they gave me at the beginning, they kind of underestimated it, and it was far more advanced than they had realized. And I don't think they realized how long it was there, the doctors who seen me. So they had to send me somewhere else because it was obviously too much for them. So that's when I ended up going to Chicago.
Is there is there kind of a prognosis with this? Is everything fine now, or what happens now with this?
Yeah, obviously the nerve damage in the scalp, come back on its own. Every 6 months, just go get checked, make sure you don't come back.
Do you want to play football?
I love football. Football has done everything for me.
He addressed the media for 18 minutes, and some of the highlights were, it was a ton of emotions. Almost lost my life, seriously, almost lost my life. You're 30, you're coming off your 7th straight Pro Bowl, and a doctor tells you to get your affairs in order. It's not going to sit well with you, and it still doesn't. Another thing that he said that has really made shockwaves is there is no trust between the team and I at all.
Why should they?
So
why should he rather?
If you guys aren't hip to what's happening, Trent Williams went to a team doctor from the Washington Redskins who refused to change their name, their racist name, and because he had a mass on his head and he was having a hard time putting his helmet on. They told him it was no big deal. Get out there and play, son. It turns out it's a malignant tumor. It's actual cancer, and they're telling him to walk it off. 6 years later, he finds out that he has stage whatever cancer. And thank God he's going to be okay. But this is why you come to find that he sat out. Everybody thought, the deal was too big. Oh, he wants more money, blah, 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 blah. This is totally and completely understandable.
Yeah, but they made it look like he was a greedy ball player. The whole greedy ball player image. First and foremost, why don't we look after the athletes, especially football players, because they have nothing after they get through playing football except for a broken body, and a lot of them have brain trauma. And this guy had cancer and nobody there to stand up for him because he's actually trusting the team to do the right thing. And it's basically trusting the corporation to do the right thing that didn't do it.
And he took the high road and said he doesn't actually have any hard feelings towards Dan Snyder.
What can you do?
Wow. This is
it's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling. We can talk about the NFL. I don't really have that much to report on the NFL because the league is garbage. But it's wow. Do you have anything you want to cover in the NFL?
No, just.
It's nothing of consequence necessarily.
There's nothing major going on besides the 49ers not losing.
Yeah. Trade deadline came and went.
Yeah, and there wasn't any really big movement. Kenyon Drake went to Arizona.
Aqib Talib went down to Florida.
Miami.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of movement that's happening because, especially with football, it's hard to make trades in football. Those guys have to learn playbooks and everything else. You have to learn the scheme, and it's hard to plug and play. Not the defensive player, but the offensive players.
Right.
They thought that Le'Veon Bell was on the market, and they said that the Steelers were in the market for him. He would have been pissed if he would have had to go back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If I was him, I would have been pissed. I would have been there and caused a ruckus, as they say.
Yeah. Moving on to basketball real quick. You know, the season is just starting out. It's rounding out. I'm pretty surprised that they're resting Kawhi Leonard already on the Clippers for load management, which is
this whole
what is going on?
This whole
world-class athlete, dude.
And not only just world-class athletes, if he was not playing, I can guarantee you that Kawhi Leonard would be giving somebody so much in the gym right now that you would not be able to understand. He would be out there dealing. Like, dang, why aren't you in the league, dude? Exactly. He play every single night.
Multiple games.
Multiple games, dude.
Multiple games.
Work a decent job, then in between.
And then go play. Then work out.
Yeah. Give it to some dudes that was talking slick. Oh, okay.
Get in a couple fights.
Yeah. That's it. But now we have to manage him. He can't play back-to-back games.
And you have to say,
this is the same thing that went on with Garrett Cole.
It's the same thing that just went on with Garrett Cole and why the Astros
we're saving him.
Have one ring instead of two.
We're saving him so for when he's with another team.
We're going to make sure he strikes out another 300 guys next season.
Probably us.
And he's going to strike out us a lot. But along those lines, one thing that I did find interesting that Kobe Bryant came out and took a shot at the NBA and said that he wouldn't make an NBA comeback even if he was 100% guaranteed to win another title. No, I like my rings the hard way.
I heard that. He doesn't want to lay up.
Post NBA Kobe is my favorite Kobe, I have to say. He's much more tolerable now than he was when he was the athlete, the star athlete, because he's still the star athlete without playing.
Yeah, and he's telling you the truth. He doesn't want an easy dub. He wants to work for it.
He wants to work for it, even if his version of working for it is playing with the most dominant player of all time.
Yeah, but he always.
But it's not like he didn't show up. I don't ever.
No, he always was prepared. Now, Kobe, you never saw an out of shape Kobe or Kobe that was not prepared like these guys nowadays. These guys aren't prepared to play the game.
No, you didn't see.
And if they are, then they'll sit out. You know, these guys spend too much time in the clubs, and then you surprised that when
big money.
Yeah, they got big money, but still, Kobe had big money, but you didn't see Kobe hanging out in the clubs nonstop. That's why he was an elite player. That's why you have a handful of elite players that don't spend their time in the clubs. You have a handful of elite players also that do spend time in the clubs and still get busy. I like James Harden.
Yeah, a handful of dudes that they can just go both ways.
Yeah.
What can you do?
But he doesn't win championships or titles.
And the last thing I want to cover in basketball is this.
I play just like I play in real life on video games, which really makes a lot of my friends upset.
Can you elaborate on that? What do they get upset about?
Because they expect me to shoot every time, and I play the right way. I run like really pick and rolls and double and find shooters, go in the post and double. It's a 4-3 on the backside. They got a guy hot, trap his pick and rolls, or I'll double him or something like that. I play real basketball. Not fake basketball.
Did you do that as a grown up? You playing pickup? At what point?
He said, "Did you do that as a grown up?"
I think he meant growing up. But
I was going to say,
but that
LeBron was born grown.
LeBron James plays 2K the same way that he plays real life. He doesn't overshoot.
Rubs everybody the wrong way.
That's
everybody
telling.
wants
That's
to
really
see him
telling.
be selfish and dominate so much. I would like to see him be a little bit more selfish and dominant, but he actually has a high basketball IQ, and he doesn't have that. That's where he gets that whole thing about him not having a killer instinct. You know, because he's not willing to take over the game and just be completely selfish when he's supposed to, instead of giving the ball to a J.R. Smith or something like that.
Which actually hurts the team. Then you got Kevin Durant with a huge interview today on First Take. Go in and check on that. I want to get to some more info that we got to cover, so you guys can check on that. But the gist of it was pretty interesting. I haven't got a chance to watch the whole thing myself, but I know that he addressed the idea that the situation with Draymond Green actually was a factor in him leaving.
You saw that on his face as soon as it happened.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said that he has no interest in being better than anybody. He just wants to be the best version of himself.
That's cool.
He has, these are all, obviously, I'm paraphrasing all this, said that he likes watching Kyrie, Dame Lillard, LeBron, Kawhi. These are some of his best players, favorite players to watch. Said he has no plans at all of playing this year. The process is slow, and he's fine with that. And he's going to come back next year and tear the league up.
I don't know about that. I think he's going to be nice, but I definitely don't think that he's going to be the player that he once was. That's just a part of that Achilles.
Said that people were mad at him for not putting Russell Westbrook in his place, but he's the guy who took all the late shots, and it was always on him. And so that's not how he felt about Russell. Russell's a player that couldn't be tamed, so he wanted to support him. But in all of the metrics, Kevin Durant is the guy that took all the late shots and led the league in shooting attempts, which then in turn shows him, this is Kevin Durant, that the GMs and everybody know that he's the man. That was his statements. Again, just another interview to confirm that I'm not a big Kevin Durant fan. Me, myself.
I'm not mad at him. I mean, Russell Westbrook.
Not mad at anybody.
Russell Westbrook did take more shots than him.
That's not what he said.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
Oh.
What did you crazy? He's saying, I'll just play it for you so you're not confused. Russell Westbrook did not take more shots than him. You're giving up fake news right now.
I don't know. I have to look at the stats myself, even if he said it.
Good luck. Go look him up then, because I'll play you what he said.
The reason why he isn't considered the best by some others is because that lack of assertiveness, that lack of aggressiveness, the dog in him that says, the hell with this, give me the ball, let me remind you of who I am. What do you say to that?
I mean, I led my team in shots ever since I've been in the league. So, always been number one on the team in shots. It's like, but playing with Russell Westbrook, a lot of people say that I should put him in his place. Like, he's a player that you can't put in his place. He's a big personality. He's a player that you can't tame. So, like, I was just going to support him no matter what. I think that's what a lot of people try to say, is that I wasn't assertive in putting Russell in his place. But my whole thing was to let these guys grow and be creative in their own space. You know what I mean? That's what teammates do. So, I mean, I always led the team in shots, always took the late game shots, I always was trusted to make all the plays. And I averaged 39 minutes a game almost my whole career. So that shows you my GMs, the coaches, trust me to be that guy every single day, every game since I've been in the league.
Speaking of,
that's what he's saying.
How many minutes per game did he see average?
39 out of 48.
I see 36.9.
You must be looking including preseason. I don't think he's talking about preseason. Anywho,
looking at his career,
it's a ghoulish good time on Halloween. So now, moving forward, I want to talk about boxing because this is a big weekend in boxing, ladies and gentlemen. 'Tis going down. Not only is we had a big weekend boxing last weekend. Man, there's so much action going on. The kid Shakur Stevenson balled out. Crazy.
Balled out.
He balled out. He went in there and got it done. There's a lot of just so much action to cover. We need to actually start doing more shows, bro. Plain and simple. Team Canelo came out for some reason today and said that they're ready for Better Biev. Why they would say that? Said Kovalev is better than Better Biev, so Canelo's prepared to fight him too.
It's not true.
It's just not true. Canelo today said that Kovalev is the best at 175, and that's why I'm fighting him, which is not true.
You see an old tired man and you want to go beat him up. That's the bottom line. And
who's vulnerable to the body.
Exactly. And hopefully he has enough in the tank and just not taking his cash out right now so that he can go ahead and set you straight, little whippersnapper.
And then you come to find there was a very serious piece that came out that the working relationship between Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy is not in good shape. And that is being made abundantly clear by Golden Boy's top star, Canelo Alvarez, who was secured a $365 million deal, who apparently did not appreciate the idea that Oscar De La Hoya promised a third fight with Golovkin. Surprise, surprise. He did not appreciate. Now, the funny thing about this with Canelo is Canelo actually left the promoter he was with to go with Golden Boy. And he came out and said that there's no loyalty in Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar changed managers. Oscar changed trainers. I'm a loyal person. He's not. This is all strictly business now. So this is very, I don't know. This is There's trouble in paradise. But the big news is the fight is on for this weekend.
Right, and there's going to be a lot of trouble in paradise if he loses.
Ooh, cha. Well, and that's the whole thing. I think that what their strategy, the exit strategy is if somehow or another Kovalev can summons up a dub, he goes back down to 60 where he has the belts, where he's got this franchise title where he can run around. Because the Zone has staked their claim with him. This is just all it is to it.
Yeah.
The money is there. And they got to pay him his $36 million regardless of who he fights us or if he fights a named fighter.
I don't want none.
I'm good. For 36, he can knock me out for 36.
Yeah, I'm going to throw some punches too.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to land.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, child. I like that attitude. But let's talk about that fight is coming up. And also Ryan Garcia is coming up with the drama that Ryan Garcia had with Golden Boy, all of which happened, over this fight that was already on the books with this guy that he's supposed to fight as the co-main event coming up this Saturday. It's going down. It's on DAZN, which honestly I can't front is the best deal in paid sports now.
It is.
You can't front on it, even at $19.95.
And what was pointed out to us as well is their archive, which is unbelievable.
Oh, the
boxing archive. Yeah.
Deep archive.
So you have to go and look for all those fights on YouTube.
No, they're all there. They're all on your smart TV app, which is great. So, we got a lot of other fights coming up this weekend. One that's really lopsided on the odds, but actually may not be as lopsided in real life, and that's Miguel Berchelt versus Jason Sosa. Sosa's a giant underdog, and he will probably lose, but he may be worth the bet because he's something like plus 1,200.
Wow.
Exactly. But what I wanted to talk about in the world of boxing was the family of the OZone, Regis Rougarou Prograis, went out to London this last weekend and fought in the championship of that Super Series lightweight category, weight class, for the Muhammad Ali belt against Josh Taylor. And man, was that a Royal Rumble.
It was a serious tussle, as they say.
Wow.
Man, they went back and forth.
It went back and forth. Two southpaws. We told you guys it had the potential to be Fight of the Year candidate, and they went in there and they chunked him. I mean, they chunked him. And you finally found someone who was able to stand up to Regis's body shots and his punishment and his pressure. But the problem was, it seemed like Regis needed a little bit more time to execute because Taylor had great defense to the body.
Yeah, it was the in-fight adjustments that needed to happen, and they didn't really happen. And
it seemed like there was an A game plan and not a B game plan.
Yeah, because Josh Taylor took away the body.
Yep. And he hit Regis a lot with straight shots.
Yes. He went straight down the middle, and Regis
looked ill-prepared for that.
Yeah. And he dominated the early rounds.
Yep.
And then the second part, Regis turned it up. But I don't think he ever really got over the hump of those early rounds.
I agree. And I also didn't expect him to get a decision over there.
No.
You brought up something great about neutral sites. Please share that with the audience.
No, I'm just saying that these guys should fight somewhere where they can't be influenced. The judges or anybody else can have a upper hand on the decision.
A home field advantage.
Yeah, home field advantage, because it makes a big difference. Regis literally, to me, didn't have a chance to win that fight by decision unless he had 2 to 3 knockdowns or something crazy dramatic. It's almost like fighting Canelo on DAZN. Because you literally have to have, some rounds in the can against Canelo in order for it to be competitive. With him going over there across the pond to fight Taylor, he's going to run into a problem when it comes to a decision, because he can't. There's going to be what was the final card?
So, and this was the part. If you guys want to find a hilarious meme, find the referee when they announce the scorecards. One scorecard was a draw, 114-114, which I could have rolled with. One was 115-113 for Taylor, which I also could roll with. I actually don't think Regis won the fight, and Regis was very gracious in the post fight.
Yes.
Like very, very, almost too gracious in the post fight.
And it seems like Regis didn't really believe that he won the fight.
Yes, which is so refreshing to see honesty in the ring afterwards.
Regis is a solid dude, though.
Top to bottom, soup to nuts. And then what we see is, as usual, one judge came in at 117-112.
Where did you watch the fight? In the bathroom?
Unbelievable.
You can't come back. I was devastated.
Always at least one judge on the take.
And this is why I'm talking about having it in a neutral zone. You know what I'm saying? You have it somewhere where Regis doesn't have the upper hand. Go fight in Australia or something. You can't keep doing this. So there's fighters who have,
like that happened to Manny Pacquiao in Australia with Jeff Horn.
Right, but there's fighters who actually have a home field advantage in Vegas. you know, and then
like Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, like Floyd Mayweather. This is why they don't want to fight out of Vegas.
That's it.
You know,
that's it.
And this is
like Canelo.
Yeah, or Canelo. So there's a lot of guys who literally have a home field advantage. And I know that everybody subscribes to this A side, B side thing, but what you're talking about is being unfair.
That's what you're saying.
You
That's
want an
what
unfair
you're saying.
advantage.
That's
in a
what
fight.
you're saying.
Yeah.
And what's supposed to be a fair fight, as evidenced by us being the same weight.
Right.
Which is supposed to make it as fair as possible.
Exactly. That's why when you fight in Los Angeles, you're going to find very rare that there are fighters who are literally centrally located, born and raised in Los Angeles or this area, which makes it a great place to have fights. You know what I'm saying? Who do you got? You have Mikey Garcia. Who else do you have?
That are locals?
Yeah, that are locals.
Yeah, you have
born and raised.
You have that group. You have the Garcia brothers.
Yeah.
You have Gennady who immigrated, but that doesn't necessarily count.
Yeah, and he's never fought here.
Yeah, you don't have a large contingent of Angelinos that are hometown guys.
Right, so this is why Los Angeles is a great place for the fights.
Yeah, besides the fact that it's really convenient for us.
Yeah, that makes it even better. I've always loved that angle.
I really like that angle myself. Another angle that is not surprising is that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has been temporarily suspended by the Nevada Commission.
What juice was he on?
But listen to this one. We won't know. You know why? He's suspended after evading VADA collectors at his Studio City home last week. He declined drug tests and faces a hearing with the commission on November 20th. The fight with Daniel Jacobs, slated for December 20th in Vegas, is in jeopardy.
Yeah, don't worry about it. 6 months later,
they don't care.
Under the rug.
I should take another Quaalude. Love me in the money, Frank. That's all it comes down to in boxing. Boxing ain't serious about no health.
They're not serious about health because it's a dangerous sport. And as we've seen earlier this year, there's so many guys not.
We'll be down 4 boxers?
Yeah, come on, man. That's a lot of people who died in the ring, literally. You know, come on. It's too far.
People watch their lives beat out of them.
Right. And we still have guys testing dirty.
It's dangerous enough without the test. I mean, without the juice. Unbelievable. Yeah, man. Who are you picking this weekend?
You know what? To me, the odds are in his favor, which is Canelo. Yeah. But I wish Kovalev could really give him a good fight. You know, I hope that he could give him a good fight, you know, because the big man coming out there and doing the big man things. But Canelo picked this fight for a reason. And so everything is set up for him to take the dub.
You say it's set up. What can you do? I'm with
What can you do, child?
I never felt like the Kovalev was a real threat. I'll be pleasantly surprised if he becomes one.
Yes.
But I never felt like that. Also, now that he's got a belt, for some reason, Gervonta Davis said he's going to move up from 130 to 135 and then 140 and fight Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor responded with, "That's the best joke I've heard in a good while." What a minge.
Gervonta could fight at 140 because he always walk around about 160.
He has a hard time making 130. I ain't the slimmest guy in the world myself, but that's not my job. So that's what's going on in the world of boxing. Let's see what Do It for the Tipper has for us in the world of the NCAA.
Tipper.
There he is.
Well, do it then.
Since you're doing it for the Tipper, let's do it for this. Well, what is it?
Well, what is it, Big Ezo and the Ozone?
What's the word? How you feeling out there, man?
Man, I'm good. High winds. I'm good.
High winds. Are you in a fire zone?
It's probably about 25 miles west of me.
Good.
The only thing worse than all these winds is the dry air, man. We're below 10% humidity. I mean, it's crazy dry out there.
Man.
I'm going to say the fires are worse than the dry air and the winds.
I said the only thing worse than the fire.
No, you didn't say that. No, child.
I'm going to have to go back and check the tape because you played too much.
You know, he good at trying to do that.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know I bust y'all out all the time. You got the false prophets.
Goodness. Whatever. Everybody in the ozone, this is what we have to deal with.
Why did you get him started?
He just said that it's the only thing worse than these wins, but he didn't hear it, so it didn't happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Terry's going to run for president. He's fully qualified in the current political climate. Anyways, what do you got going? Talk to me about your picks, man. People are on me about these picks. We gotta go at least 6 for 9. Talk to me.
Ooh, 6 for 9. That's about the average.
Takashi.
Last week I was pretty nasty last week, but you know, we'll go through week 9 of the NCAA and then we'll jump into week 10.
All right.
So in week 9, I went with number 13, Wisconsin, upsetting Ohio State. I lost that when Ohio State ran deep up in over Wisconsin. Plain and simple.
How you doing?
So that's my one list. That's my one loss. Then Went with number 5, Oklahoma. That was a big upset. They lost to Kansas State. Now, we have to count it because it is an L, but I'm sure that everyone in National Football land, OZone land, would not have, picked Kansas State to beat Oklahoma, so I'll take that one. I went with number 20, Iowa over Northwestern. That was a W. I went with number 2, LSU, go Tigers, over number 9, Auburn. That's a big game. I went with number 6, Penn State, over Michigan State. Sorry, Michigan State guys. This was my upset pick of the week, and I hope the OZone cats rolled with me. I said number 15, Texas, was going to lose to Texas Christian University, TCU Horned Frogs, and it happened.
Ooh, that cheese.
Big.
Hook
Next
'em
was
horns.
number 1, Bama over Arkansas. Then Boston College lost to number 4, Clemson. And lastly, the game of the night, I went with number 8, Notre Dame, to upset number 19, Michigan, and it didn't happen. So for week 9, I went 6 out of 9. Pretty good.
Not so bad.
But
So
not
what do we got for
good
week
enough.
10?
For week 10, I need some OZone assistance.
I want
everybody join in.
I want to taste the sweet nectar of an upset. Where do I go?
Okay. And we got one. So number 14, Michigan, is playing at Maryland. Maryland just beat Notre Dame. I'm sorry, Michigan just beat Notre Dame. But I don't think that Michigan is that good on the road. So we're going to start this week with the upset. First call, I'm going with Maryland over Michigan.
Ooh.
Second game, NC State at Wake Forest. Let's go with number 23, Wake Forest. We got Virginia Tech at number 16, Notre Dame. I'm going with Notre Dame. Big game in down south. Number 8, Georgia, is playing against number 6, Florida.
Gators.
I'm going with them dogs. Them dogs.
UGA. On the road.
My upset. On the road. In the swamps. I'm going with them Georgia Bulldogs, SEC. Then we got Wolford at number 4, Clemson. I'm going with Dabo Swinney and them Clemson Tigers. Number 9, Utah at Washington. Let's go upset again. We're going to the Pacific Northwest. I'm going with Washington over number 9, Utah.
I might have a nice parlay. I smell a parlay.
Do it. Let's do it, Washington. Hey, Washington wins big games. I'm going with Washington. So we go.
Early. Game started at 9. Damn, I'll get off work Friday until about midnight.
You won't be able to wake up and see the game.
I want to see the game. That's my wager.
They'll blow all the smoke in your face.
No, Terry, it's the fires. The fires are worse than the smoke.
Man.
Then we got number 15, SMU. Welcome to the top 25, SMU, and they're playing against number 24, Memphis. Welcome to the top 25, Memphis. I'm going to go with Memphis right there.
Oh, wow.
Then we got a big game at the house. Number 7, Oregon, visiting to play against them USC Trojans. Them Trojans has been rolling. They've been hot. But I'm going with them Ducks. It's duck season right now because I have early in the OZone, early in the season, I said that Oregon will probably be one of those teams that's on the border, on the cusp of making it to the National Football Playoff round.
Right.
And lastly,
that position.
They moving up. We got number 21, Boise State.
I already know where you're going.
And they playing against them San Ho Alumni Spartans.
At Spartan Stadium.
4-4 right now. One more game, and they are bowl eligible.
Spartan's getting blown out.
I
don't want to hear that.
He gonna mess up his car and pull around the Spartans.
Yeah, you gonna mess up your car on some nostalgia, truck. Call the games right.
On some sentiment.
And you go with the whole shit. You so damn.
They had the nerve to send me something talking about, we want you to post go Spartans. I was like, man, as much tuition as y'all done got off my name, right. I called about my nephew getting in a day or two after the deadline. Right. They gonna say we can't help you.
Right.
Care about those Spartans?
I guess we bash your San Jose Spartans.
Now put them on your car.
Put them on your car.
Put them on your car. Go ahead and mess up your car.
I'm going to bash them, too, because I'm sure I still got some parking tickets. Hey,
I'm sure that, too.
I'm going to Boise.
Oh, my goodness. Hilarious. Yeah, man.
And that's all I got for the OZone for the college football picks this week.
Tell me this: what you got for the NCAA paying these athletes now?
That's what I was going to say. I wanted to, and before you go into that, I want to throw something else into the mix that I haven't heard many people reporting on for some reason, which is you see Big David West is working with a startup, a Bay Area startup guy that bought into a new venture that is a college basketball league that would challenge the NCAA by offering salaries ranging from $50,000 to $150,000 to the top prep players nationally and internationally, while setting them up with a clear path to higher education. The Historical Basketball League would be the first of its kind. That's the name of it, the Historical Basketball League. The ultimate test of whether fans watch college basketball because of the emotional connection to the names on the front of the jerseys, because of the gifted players with the names on the back, or a mixture of both. What do you guys think about that? Now that was announced before the NCAA announced that they were going to cave in and give the endorsement that they were able.
David West doesn't have that much money.
No, he's not.
No,
that's why you gotta go with the crab in the barrel, brother. It's not about David West bread. David West got big bread, by the way,
but he don't have enough bread to go against the NCAA because although what they're doing is letting the cat out the bag, they still want to control it in some form or fashion. They're not just gonna let all these kids walk away without letting other people want to try to jump in and start stealing money. They're not gonna let that happen. They want all G's.
Yeah, I think, and that's tough. The ideal is, and the concept is great.
Yeah, I love the idea.
I think it's almost like the NFL and the UFL and all that type of stuff. Where the XFL is good for kids to be able to get paid up front. Will it fold? Will it happen? Yes, and then it'll be the college basketball sport or something, because these traditions and the alumni has been established for hundreds of years, and the NCAA is the biggest mafia on the planet. So, they're robbing and raping and doing everything that they can to get the cheese. And I think they're just too established. And sometimes folks is too scared to take the gamble and start something new.
Yeah, here's what he said. Sometimes when you're on these campuses, you lose sight. You get caught up in what's going on in college, but then you realize I literally got like $45. Guys in the league get consumed by things that have nothing to do with basketball. Literally some of the highest paid players in the history of the game. You're making 20, 30 million a year, and mom is handling your finances. I'm not exaggerating. And this is simply because in the 12, maybe 24 months you're on a college campus, you're being trained to be a college person. You're not being prepared to take that next step. That's it. And that's what happens with us.
Well, let me ask you this, and that's very interesting. So if you had a child and, 6'6", young Zion, would you want that child to go to Duke, or would you want that child to break off into something new and be in the David West League?
Well, that's funny because I happen to have LeVar Ball here in studio who'd like to address this.
LeVar Ball is one of the guys who tried to start something similar to this.
They got smashed, but LeVar Ball definitely didn't have any money in comparison to this. And it's not just, that's the thing, it's not just David West. This is him working with this guy that he's working with is the engineer behind Amazon Prime Video, who I imagine has a couple bucks himself.
Yeah, but how much did they say that the NCAA is banking every year with these colleges? $14 billion or something like that?
That's some crazy dough.
Yeah, so we have to recognize that they've been banking this money for years.
Oh, yeah, they got big money.
So, I mean, we're probably talking about in the trillions. They're not going to let this go.
What's everything always got to be so exaggerated with him, Timber?
Man,
you're going to tell me after 50 years they don't have $1 trillion if you're banking billions every year?
No. Hey, easy radio around here. You real right now.
$1 trillion is 1,000 billions.
Okay.
This is absurd.
So is a billion.
Is 1,000 millions.
It's still absurd.
Oh, wait till I get going. Inconceivable. Terry the Contrarian, ladies and gentlemen. He's working Monday through Friday right here in Koreatown.
On the OZone.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll be here all week.
I think that concept is good for someone who's, not receiving the big deals, not receiving the big school scholarships, and then they can go to that type of school to pick up some cheese and, a scholarship and get paid for it. But if my son had the opportunity to go to a major D1 school hey, he's going to get breaded out anyway. He's going to get breaded out up under the table, but it's almost that guarantee that they're going to get them meal tickets when after they do their year, or even if the NCAA, say 1 year and done, or whatever rule that they have. If he's balling out, he can go straight to the NBA. Why would you take that chance of going to the David West School, the David West University?
Well, because a lot of people are coming from situations when the cheese is necessary right now. We don't have another year and 2 years to play games. This $50,000 or $150 that might be available right now could be the way to go. And if the kid is super nice, I feel like it's a kind of situation where if you get one Zion, it changes everything.
Right.
Because if you get one of the kids that's the kid and they take the dough and then they go to the league, that changes the everything.
I don't believe that.
Right. And that's when the NBA changes its rule, because once they
the NBA is going to work in tandem. The NBA is going to work in tandem with the NCAA.
How about the NBA?
That's what I just said, fool.
You said the NDA.
And then that was
we don't need a non-disclosure agreement.
You hear this clown over here?
Man,
Dude, he's so salty. You know why? Because the Astros just got served.
I ain't salty because the Astros got served.
Why. That's what happens.
The Astros got served not to get served.
You got served. You
I would have stayed out the dirt. I would have stayed out the dirt.
No, we know you wouldn't have.
I would make contact. I give you Vlad.
Zach Greinke would have had your number.
Zach Greinke would have had my number. He's throwing that puss. But that's why I told you that he had him in the first place, because that puss has everybody's number.
You called it, John. You called it. I'm sorry. Don't be mad. I'll leave you with your $1 trillion. I'll leave you to count your $1 trillion.
You wait till the NCAA comes out and tell you about their bank,
which they'll never do.
Yeah.
They never do. That's like trying to get Trump taxes. It ain't
oh, my goodness. All right, do it for the tipper. Last thing, because we're wrapping up the show. We went long this time because we had so much to cover. Who you got this weekend? Kovalev, Canelo. I'm looking at a picture right now of Kovalev, who literally looks 5 weight classes bigger than Canelo.
Really?
I mean, he looks like a
Brutus the Barber beefcake.
He looks like Brutus the Barber.
This is a great way for him to cash out and ride out to
the sunset. I'm happy for the Crusher in this sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly who, because if it's I think we talked about it months ago. If it's a fight or a boxing match, I'll give it to Canelo. But if it's a phone booth, a brawl, I'm definitely giving it to Crusher.
I think you got it backwards though, because Kovalev doesn't need to get in the phone booth. He's a bigger man. He needs to stay out there and use that leverage on him.
No. I think Crusher got to make it an ugly fight. Canelo ain't fought an ugly fight since forever, ever. He's the more experienced fighter, the more polished fighter at this time. Because how old is Kovalev?
37,
I think he's 35.
Something like that, 36 or 37.
Okay. So, which is hella old in boxing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, if it's a boxing match, I'll give it to Canelo. But if it's a brawl, I'm going Kovalev because he ain't got nothing to lose. He's going to throw all the punches.
It's hard to give to me, it's hard to give a boxing match to the smaller guy.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the brawl, Canelo needs to brawl.
Yeah.
And that's that's how he needs to get inside. It's to brawl. But if Kovalev uses his size, even being the bigger guy is going to keep Canelo at bay, with the jab and then making him pay every time he tries to get in there to the body. But I heard some kind of stuff floating around where Canelo's been knocking out heavyweights and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, they love to throw that one out there.
But like, what? Who was it? It was me? Come on, man. I don't even work out. I'm a bum.
He had some beef.
Some of that Guadalajara beef. Since you want to bring up Brutus the Barber.
Some of them beef tacos from Guadalajara.
Some of that carne. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is wrapping up a spirited episode of the OZone. Do it for the tipper. Glad to have you on. And we'll catch you soon. We're going to leave you guys with a quote from Maya Angelou, and it is that courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. We're all in this thing together, folks. I'm your host, Omar Miller, and this is the OZone.
OZone.
I'm just living the dream. I'm in love with the lights.